Good morning. Welcome to Member Focus Monday. I'm Christina Schaefer, Social Media Manager for HAR. I'm all alone this morning. We're doing things a little bit differently. I'll explain that in just a moment, but before I do, I want to mention that today's Member Focus Monday and the HAR On the Move podcast are sponsored by Drees Custom Homes. They've been developing luxury home communities in Texas for more than 30 years. You can find out more about them on their website. So today, what we are doing, or what I am doing, is I'm going to be going over social media security with you guys. I put together a little presentation, 10 tips to keep you safe. Some of them might be obvious, some of them may be things that you've never thought of before. So tune in, watch, type in your questions. I'll be answering questions like I always do. So be sure to just type those in. And then also go ahead and make sure you like and share this post, because this is information that's going to help not just realtors, but really anyone that's wanting to stay safe on social media. So go ahead and share this post. I do want to also mention that you can access the presentation if you want to have it to look at again later. We have commented that in the comments, so there's a little link there that you can click to view and download the presentation. But let's go ahead and get started. So again, today's social media security 10 tips to keep you safe. So before we get into the actual tips, I want to mention some security facts. So this is pretty interesting. Facebook has over 600,000 hack attempts every single day. In comparison, though, the NSA has 300 million every day. So that is a lot. While that is a lot, the NSA obviously has a lot more. This is a misconception. A lot of people think they don't need to pay attention to social media security because they're not very active on social media. It doesn't matter how active or inactive you are. The fact that you have any platform set up puts you at risk. So when you sign up for any of these social media accounts, you are giving them your name, your birthday, your address potentially, phone number, email address, and then also potentially credit card and bank information. If you've ever bought something through social media or Facebook, how they now have that Facebook Pay built in, or even if you've ever donated to a cause you've seen on Facebook, you've given access to your credit card and banking information. Not saying that you shouldn't do that, but you just very much should be aware that Facebook now has access to that, or any platform that you're using for that matter has access to that. So lastly, I do want to mention that these platforms, specifically Facebook seems to be the one that people kind of beat up on the most, but they really have done a lot to improve their cybersecurity. But it's still up to you to make sure that you're doing everything you can to ensure your safety and security, okay? So if you're just tuning in, I see it jumped up our numbers here. If you're just tuning in, it's all me today, just talking about social media security. So any social media security questions you have, go ahead and type them into the comments and I'll get to them in a little bit. All right, so let's get right into it. So to my earlier point, it doesn't matter how active or inactive you are on social media. The fact that you have an account does put you at risk. So the very first thing that I would recommend to everyone is deactivate any dormant accounts. If there are any accounts that you're no longer using, whether that be Twitter or MySpace, whatever the account may be, make sure you go and deactivate that account. In the settings for all of the platforms, it might be a little bit hidden and you might have to Google the exact steps on how to do it, but you can deactivate any accounts that you're no longer using. Again, the fact that they have your name, email, birthday, phone number, all of that stuff does put you at risk if it's just sitting out there, even if it's an account that you're not using currently. So that's my first tip, is just deactivate any dormant accounts to, keep it all, so you can make sure that you're keeping everything safe. Secondly, change your passwords. This is one that we hear all the time, but how often do we actually do it? And that's why I picked an image of a calendar, because this is really almost something you should set an appointment with yourself to do. Myself, my work email with Outlook, we're required to change our password I believe it's every 3 months. Whenever I get that alert that it's time for me to change my password for my work email, I go ahead and take that opportunity to change my password everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. It's just a good idea to do that. Even better, You could you could use any of the password protecting apps or websites like LastPass or 1Password. These are going to store your password and only make it to where you have to remember one password. So I type in my, password 123 or whatever. Don't use that as your password, but I type in my password and it's given access to however many websites of passwords that I have. And in the background, you guys can't see, but our IT guy just cringed when I said password 123 as your password. So don't use that as your password, but do use some sort of app like that, or again, just schedule an appointment with yourself maybe every couple of months to change those passwords, okay? So that's another tip there. Harold says MySpace still exists, unfortunately. Yes, it does. And if you haven't deactivated your account, it's still up and running. So that was tip number 2, change your passwords. Number 3, turn in two-factor authentication everywhere you can. Yes, it does take you a little bit longer to sign in, but it is so helpful. What this does, and you can do this on many different platforms, Facebook, Twitter, even email accounts allow you to do this, but anywhere you can turn on two-factor authentication, you should. What this does is, let's say I go to, facebook.com and I go to log in, it's going to pop up that we need to verify this is actually you. So then what it will do is it sends a text message to my mobile device with a code. I enter that code and now I'm into my Facebook account. Okay, yes, it does take a little bit longer because there's a few extra steps involved, but what's an extra 30 seconds when I'm ensuring my security? I turned that on years ago, and there have been a handful of times that I get a notification to my device that somebody, did you just try to log into Facebook? And it wasn't me. So it's actually stopped it in its tracks. I immediately changed my password and I know I'm protected and safe. So turn on that two-factor authentication anywhere you can, email, social media platforms. It's just a really great extra step to ensure your safety. Anne said, learning so much already. Goodness, we have a lot to keep up with. Yes, you do. Social media security, it's not one of the topics that people necessarily want to hear about, but it's one that you should hear about and you need to hear about because you have so much information out there. You want to make sure that it's protected. And as realtors, you have to use social media to market yourself, so it's important to know how to do it right. Okay, so tip number 4, thoroughly check privacy settings. This is on every platform. Facebook is the most intricate, and Facebook really has done a lot to ensure your safety and make sure that you're completely comfortable with how the settings are, how they're displayed. When you go into Facebook, you can see on that graphic there on the left, you hit that little down arrow at the top, and you click settings, and you're going to see a long list of settings. I encourage each of you to take a little bit of time, maybe 10 minutes, and go through each one of these that you see. General, security, and login, that's where you can turn in your two-factor authentication. Your Facebook information, privacy, timeline and tagging, facial recognition, all of those things. You can make sure that you're comfortable with how your security settings are arranged. For example, if I want the default for any of my posts to be that it goes just to friends instead of public, that's a place where I can do that. Another thing you can do, turn on the ability to have Facebook notify you when somebody tags you in a post or a photo. Very important to do that. Again, you guys are using social media for marketing purposes. You want people to know you, like you, and trust you. Sometimes you might have a friend or family member that tags you and 80 other people in a post, and maybe it's a post with a political view or something that you don't necessarily agree with or want people to see, right? By turning on that tagging approval, I can make sure that nobody in my audience sees anything I don't want them to see. So it's really important to go through and turn all these on. Another thing that some people have mixed opinions about this, but facial recognition, some people don't like that Facebook is analyzing your face and recognizing it when it finds it in different places. But guess what, guys? It's doing that anyway, whether you turn on the setting for it or not. I like to turn on the facial recognition because if somebody posts a photo and I happen to be in it, I get a notification from Facebook saying, so-and-so just posted a photo, is this you? And then I can either choose to, say, yes, it's me, no, it's not me, or I can just ignore it. I can then even at that point tag myself in that photo. So if somebody posted a photo with me but didn't tag me and I want to tag myself, I can. Or if it's not me, I can tell Facebook, no, that's not me. Okay. So again, some people get leery about that. Oh, I don't want Facebook recognizing my face. But guess what, guys? It already does. It already knows what you look like. It's just now going to be notifying you if somebody posts something with a photo that looks somewhat like you. It's pretty interesting to see, but Facebook does detect it pretty well. I've gotten notifications personally where somebody's in a classroom at HAR and I happen to be on the screen behind them in a video and Facebook recognizes me. So it's pretty smart about finding your face anywhere that it might be. So I'd recommend going through all of your settings that you have on Facebook, because Facebook has so many. Take some time and go through them and make sure you're comfortable with everything and how it's set up. At the end, I will give you guys my email address. So if you're going through these security settings and you're not understanding what you're looking at, you can always reach out to me and email me, and I can explain it a little bit better for you if you need that. Now, again, Facebook is the best when it comes to really letting you go in and decide how secure you are, okay? The other platforms I have displayed here, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, these are more all or nothing. You're either private and protected or not, okay? Now, again, realtors as marketers, ideally, you're not going to have a private Instagram or a private Twitter or a private LinkedIn, because the whole goal for you as marketers is to grow and expand your business, for more people to be able to see you and get to know you. So it's completely up to you whether you decide to make these public or private. But my suggestion would be, since you're using this for marketing, go ahead and keep it public, but be very aware of what you're posting and when you're posting. We'll get into this a little more later, but if I'm saying that I'm at a location, maybe don't post it at that particular moment. So you just need to really be selective on the content that you're posting on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, because again, for most of you, you're not going to have a private account there. It's going to be open for everyone to see. You just want to make sure that you're aware of that. So when you're posting in a smart way, okay? Alrighty, so somebody's having a problem with connection. If you guys will respond and let us know if anyone else is having a problem with their connection, that would be helpful. I think that might just be something going on with yours there, Lois, but let us know if anybody else isn't experiencing any issues. Okay, so thoroughly check your privacy settings. Again, on Facebook, go line by line and make sure that you're safe. On Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, just make sure you're comfortable with whatever it is that you do choose, okay? Next up, be smart about geotagging. So this takes me back to what I just said about being aware of what you're posting on what platform, because each platform, it has a little bit different security settings. If you're not familiar with the term geotagging is essentially checking in. So if any of you have ever clicked check in on Facebook, or you're tweeting something and you say your location, or on Instagram you put your location, that is called geotagging. So you're telling people, I am at HAR, I'm at the HAR building, or I am at Starbucks at the corner of 59 and Wesleyan, right? So you're telling people where you are. I almost would encourage you, unless you're encouraging people to come meet me, I'm at this event in Sugarland or whatever the case is, right? I would encourage you not necessarily to check in, but more to check out. As you're leaving or after you leave, post that picture or that video or whatever it is, and then put the location. Because remember, if I check in that I'm at a location, everyone who has access to view my profile now knows exactly where I am, okay? Again, if you are trying to hold some sort of community event or inviting people to come see you or meet with you, that's different. Go ahead and check in, tell people where you are, and encourage them to come. But if you're just, at a client meeting or getting some work done at Starbucks and you check in, now everyone knows that you're at that Starbucks, okay? So just be smart about it. When you're geotagging listing showings and open houses, do not tag the exact address. Do not put the exact address. Don't tell people you're at 123 Main Street. Just tell them, check in with the neighborhood that you're in, or the subdivision, or maybe even the city if you don't want to be that specific, right? Where I'm in Bel Air, Texas. Anyone who's truly interested in that listing, they're going to reach out to you. They're going to message you and say, hey, I love that home. What's the address? I want to go see it. So don't put exactly the location of that listing, of that showing you're doing, or if you're hosting an open house, just put the city, neighborhood, subdivision, something like that. And then again, people will reach out to you for more information if they really want it. Lastly, I feel like I say this all the time to people, but I still see it quite often, and it's a little scary, but never advertise that you're alone at an open house. I do encourage you to create content when you're alone at an open house. Maybe you do a video, maybe you do a little walkthrough, but don't advertise to people, I'm all alone at my open house, come see me, because again, you're opening yourself up to danger in some cases. So just make sure that you're not advertising that you're alone at an open house. Even if you're doing a video and you're clearly the only one there, don't say you're the only one there, because people don't know if there are more people inside or in another room or in the yard or something like that. So, all right. Perfect. So I see Andrew asked about the slides, and we did already comment with that link there. So very good. Alrighty. So be smart about geotagging. Don't check in. More think of it as a check out. Okay. Unless you're being very general and saying I'm in Sugar Land, Texas. Right. Alrighty. So tip number 6, remove third-party plugins and off Facebook activity. Off Facebook activity was what actually encouraged us to use this subject for today's Member Focus Monday. This is a relatively new thing. There's a Houston Chronicle article that went out recently that talks all about this off Facebook activity. But what it does, and you can see the image there on the left-hand side, what it does is any activity that you do off of Facebook, if you've connected that website or that business in any way with Facebook, Facebook is getting record of that activity. So I have my LinkedIn account and my Facebook account linked, and you can see there in that image that there's a little LinkedIn icon, meaning whatever I'm doing on LinkedIn, it's getting reported back to Facebook. Okay. There's a few others there, different things that I use for social media, as well as the energy company that I use. It's getting reported back to Facebook. Okay. So is this a bad thing? Only if you don't want Facebook knowing about what you're doing off of Facebook. So I would go Google that. There's a direct link. And again, there's a Houston Chronicle article that went out recently that tells you how to turn this off, or just be aware of what it has shared with Facebook, because you might be sharing from a website that you don't necessarily want to share to Facebook about. Also, the third-party plugins. This was a huge deal a few years ago in 2018. Mark Zuckerberg had to go and be in court and talking about how they're sharing information with business because people felt like Facebook wasn't being very forthright in how they were doing that. Now they're very, very open about it. In your settings, you can see exactly what it's sharing with other businesses, and you can go and remove businesses that you're not happy with or you don't want it to be sharing with, okay? A lot of people did this a few years ago because they didn't realize there were hundreds of businesses that they were sharing information with. But usually it'll notify you if, let's say, you see a Facebook or a quiz on Facebook and you go to click on it, it says, if you go any further, your name and personal details will be shared with this organization. So it usually notifies you. The problem is we don't stop and read what it's telling us. So if you've gone ahead and done any of those things, it has shared your information. Facebook is sharing information with that business. So both. You have third-party plugins where Facebook shares your information with businesses, and off Facebook activity where those businesses are sharing information with Facebook. Again, Facebook's not trying to hide this from you guys, but you do need to go into your settings and just be aware of who is sharing what information about you. And again, go look up that article on the Houston Chronicle website. It was a really good read. So just be aware. Harold said, side note, when I'm out places, I see so many nearby Apple devices when I use AirDrop. Yeah, because they have their AirDrop turned on for anyone. So that means they can be getting information from anyone. Yeah, that's a really good point. To only put AirDrop on anyone actively. Do it only when you really want to. Otherwise, just leave it on contact. Excuse me. Alrighty. So third-party plugins and off Facebook activity. Really important things to go check out in your Facebook settings. Tip number 7, be selective when accepting friends. I know realtors, I know you guys feel like you need to be friends with everyone in the world, but you really don't. You can be selective with who you accept friendship with. I would not encourage you to accept a friend request from somebody you don't know or somebody you've never met. Maybe if you do get a friend request from someone and maybe it says you have 200 mutual friends and you're thinking, well, maybe I've met this person before. Maybe send them a little message like, hey, have we met? Sorry, I only really connect with people that I personally know. Again, Facebook is very good about letting you distinguish who sees what, but be selective when accepting friends. What I also mean by that is, let's say that I'm Facebook friends with Bob Hale, H-A-R-C-E-O. I'm Facebook friends with him, but all of a sudden, I pull up Facebook and I have a friend request from Bob Hale. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, aren't I already friends with him? But I don't take the time to go check that. I just go ahead and accept his friendship, right? That could be a duplicated account, okay? And that could be an account that you need to go report. Hackers know that you are likely to click on links or share information or take information from people that you actually know. So they will, in some cases, duplicate accounts, and this was a big deal last year. We were seeing this a lot where, I may have had 5 different accounts out there, but which one's really me? So it's really important to just take a second, go make sure, am I already friends with this person? If you are, maybe send them a message, hey, your account was duplicated and I just reported it, and then go report that account. Okay, just to let them know, because those could be potential people that are hacking and duplicating accounts out there. Okay. All right, so be selective when accepting friends. If you feel like you're already friends with somebody, go check and make sure you really are. And again, I don't encourage you to accept friend requests from people you do not know. Okay. Tip number 8, think twice before you post. Again, Facebook is by far the best when it comes to allowing you to decide who sees what. I made a joking little post of a preview of a post here. Playing hooky from work today. Does anyone want to grab brunch? Obviously, I'm not playing hooky from work. But if you see the arrow pointing to this is right now getting ready to be shared to the public, obviously that's something that I wouldn't want to share to the public. So in every post you create on Facebook, you can determine the audience for that post. Do I want this public? Do I want this just friends? Anyone who's taken a social media class with me, I always teach you guys about friend lists. Friend lists are another great way to post something like this. Maybe I have a list of just family and I just share this with family. Or maybe I have a list of just realtors and I only share this with realtors, or whatever the case is. So you can be very selective about what you post. But again, sometimes people post things in the moment, they're not thinking about it, and now information's out there that I don't necessarily want the public or everyone to see, okay? So think twice before you post, think about the audience, think about the potential ramifications of that post. All right. Tip number 9, exercise caution before clicking links. This goes back to only being friends with people you know. Sometimes you may see something on Facebook with an article, or maybe it's something funny, maybe it's something interesting or informative. Exercise caution before clicking links. Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, all of the social media accounts that you guys are probably using, they do show you a preview of the actual web address. So if it's a web address that you do not recognize, really think twice before clicking on that link. If it's not something that's from a local news channel or a national news channel or another website of some kind that you recognize, think twice before clicking links, because again, hackers know that you are likely to click on links from people that you recognize. If my friend shares an article, I'm likely to click on it, right? So just take a minute and see the little preview of the web address. Where is this coming from, to ensure you're comfortable with clicking on that link before you click it. Okay, and then if you click it and it's not at all what you thought, immediately get out of there. But it's really just a good idea to exercise caution before you click anyway. All right, my last tip here, don't enable auto login. Again, I know that it's so much easier to just have every account have your password already saved. It saves you time. But just remember, if I have my password saved on my laptop and then I lose my laptop, people can now gain access to my accounts. Same thing with my phone. If I lose my phone, people can now gain access to my accounts. So just be very aware of this. If you're saving your password, people can then later access that account. So do not enable auto login. I know it's a time saver. I know it's just so easy to do, but you need to be aware that that does give anybody access to your accounts that has your device. Okay. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. I put my email address up for you guys. It's just social@har.com. If you have questions about any of this after today, or you're going and really digging into those Facebook security settings and you have questions, you can always reach out to me with those questions, and I'm happy to answer them. All right, so Andrew said he didn't see the link to the presentation. We can comment it again really quick so that you can make sure you have it. And you guys can feel free to share that with anyone you want as well. And I don't see any other questions popping up at this time. Again, you guys have my email address. Feel free to email me with any additional questions you have about your social media security. And then if you're going through your security settings on any platform and you have questions about them, I'm happy to answer those questions for any of you. So before we log off, I do want to let everyone know or remind everyone that today's Member Focus Monday and this week's HAR on the Move podcast are sponsored by Drees Custom Homes. They've been developing luxury home communities in Texas for more than 30 years, and you can check out their website for more information. Also, next week, we are going to have Lawrence Dean with Metro Study. He is going to be talking to us about the new construction market. As you guys know, we put out monthly updates with the resale market and single family, luxury homes, things like that. But he's going to be talking about new homes, new construction, new build. So great information that we don't ourselves track at HAR. So be sure to tune in next Monday at 9 a.m. to hear from Lawrence. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.